Welcome to the Liberating Joy in Learning podcast. I'm Verena Beckstrand, and last time we finished our discussion of stretching upward, inward, and outward. Today we're finally ready to talk directly about the actions we can take to fulfill our growing desires. This delay goes against the grain of our very project and to-do list oriented society. However, having built a foundation in the previous primary lenses, in this fifth primary lens, we are finally ready to choose actions for our learning as we tune into our learning seasons. We know about seasons and how life is made possible because of them. Like the powerful seasons of the earth caused by traveling around the sun, each learning season pulls us into actions in tune with its own unique conditions. While the most tangible meaning of seasons is caused, as I mentioned, by the earth's rotation around the sun, less obvious are other definitions of seasons, which include Merriam-Webster states, a suitable or natural time or occasion, or the schedule of official games, or the stage of greatest fitness. Colleges and universities use semesters and terms, but actions of writing, reading, reviewing, and testing take much smaller amounts of time. These occur at regular or irregular intervals in slow shifts or moment-by-moment changes. These other meanings of season show us how the pull and opportunity of learning seasons can happen in a variety of time periods, cyclical or not. So, what kinds of seasons, besides the ones caused by Earth traveling around the sun, have you noticed?
Well, of course, they mentioned the sports seasons.
Right.
Yes. So we've got those kinds of seasons. I mean, defining other types of seasons besides going around the sun is kind of what we're looking at. And we'll talk more about learning seasons, but that's the first one that comes to my mind is sports seasons.
Yeah. Well, I figured one out the other day.
Okay.
So it's taken me a long time, but I finally have like a system for making a grocery list.
Okay.
And it seems silly, but it's stressful, right? Because you want to
Right.
make sure you have everything. And so I found 4 different seasons of doing that.
Okay.
So the first is looking at the menu, right?
Okay.
And going through the recipes. Okay.
Okay.
The other one is I walk around the kitchen and look at the fridges and I look in the pantry and I
Right.
just kind of eyeball it, right? What am I missing? What needs to be refilled?
Right.
Okay. And then the next one is to look at my list, and I'm very organized. I have everything
Yes, you are.
organized on my little notebook. So I look at the category and I'm like, whoa.
They haven't organized about where it would be in the store, so
Yeah. So do I need more vegetables? Do I need this?
Right.
And it just reminds me of things I may have forgotten.
Right.
And then the last thing I do is I ask my family, okay, what do we need? And those are my 4 seasons of making a list. But this way, I can, when I go to the store, if I've forgotten anything, I'm like, who cares? I don't care anymore. I've done
Right.
my duty as far as that goes.
Okay. Well, now let's look at seasons from the perspective of learning. Learning something in a new season of life enlivens the soul in profound ways. There's no need for regret that we didn't learn it or do it sooner. We're simply making the most of opportunities we have before us now. Some learning seasons are short, like time spent correcting a child versus the huge amount of time we spent ideally listening to, encouraging, praising, caring for physical needs. Other seasons are more balanced in their time frame, just like spending time with, serving, praying for, and planning to help our children. Understanding our learning seasons helps to choose what actions will best enable us to reach our learning claims in the flow of life's progress and change demands. So, what seasons of life have given you new opportunities?
The first one that came to mind was college.
Okay.
So I grew up in Phoenix.
Right.
Hot, dry, very sunny.
Right.
And I went away to college in Provo, Utah, and
Right.
I got seasons, I got mountains. Well, we have mountains in Phoenix, but
Yeah, but not.
like Timpanogos and
No.
all those. And so that was, I was so
Right.
excited in that new season.
Right.
Job loss and gain, those are
different seasons,
those
right?
are intense, right, in their own ways.
Right.
Kids, and as the kids grow.
Right.
What about you?
Yeah. Well, some of the same things. Going to school was a new season for me. Going to Japan was a different season of service. Of course, marriage, family, kids, all that are different seasons, and some of those. It's almost like that kind of season is one that's a very, very long season. It's kind of like Jupiter going around the sun. It doesn't happen.
So long, yeah.
It almost seems like there's no end to that season.
Right. So there's just
Yeah, and I think this is why we've discussed it ourselves, that this is a hard concept to understand, this concept of seasons, that it's not just like spring, summer, winter, or fall. That's not the only definition of seasons, or baseball seasons. That's not the only seasons. There's learning seasons where we can learn things. We make the decision to learn things or not learn something. That's
right.
And so that's kind of why we're going to take some time to go through this, because it is a little bit harder of a concept to understand.
Right. So seasons have the power to moderate all of our actions. We don't spend all day reaping what we've grown when 99% of it has been gathered and stored for the winter. We don't keep cleaning the house when it's time to fix dinner. When tuning into our learning seasons, we listen to what the season is telling us concerning actions that are no longer the best ones to help us with our learning claims, and we recognize what actions will make the most of any particular learning season. In my goal to improve as a parent, I try to tune in to the right time to ask my child to tell me how they're doing, or when I should give them their own space to decompress from the day. All action has a seasonal advantage, or a season during which that action is most beneficial. So what seasons have you struggled with in the past?
Well, when it comes to learning seasons, the one thing struggling is playing a guitar. Because I'll have, I look at it this way, my spring season when I'm learning guitar, I was like, okay, I'm anxious. I'm gonna pick it up. I start picking it up, go through summer where I'm playing a lot, and then fall comes and something happens. I lose the rhythm. I miss some time, and then winter comes where I don't practice at all. Mm-hmm. So that's a struggle sometimes. Mm-hmm. So that's one.
For me, it was small children.
Okay.
Because I was home all day.
Yes.
Most of the time, So yeah, that small children.
Right.
That was hard for me. And high school was a hard time for me.
Okay.
Just because
Yeah.
it was just a situation where I couldn't make a lot of choices, both of them really, right? And I had to just make the most of a situation that I didn't have a lot of control over.
Yeah, that's kind of like when we moved from Vegas to Panaca. That was a real hard season for me because I didn't want to move. Uh-huh. That was a struggle for me.
Okay, so when have you recognized and embraced a new season?
And the reason why I brought up that move to Panaca, because after I'd been there for a while, I realized I was going down the wrong. I was doing things that I didn't like. I was rebelling to a certain degree, and I was acting out, and I wasn't embracing that opportunity. And so when I finally did embrace the opportunity to be there, granted, I only lived there myself for 5 years before I graduated from high school. My parents have been there now for over 40 years now. Okay. And so it's home, but because I embraced that and realized that this is where I want to be, when this is what I call home, and so that was one.
Right. This is a little bit similar to the starter principle of embracing learning or letting it go or putting it on hold. Right. So I remember in college I made bread once and I was like, oh, this is really cool, but I just put it on hold, right? But when I had young children, that was a really great season for me to really hone my ability to make bread. So I don't consider myself an expert, but I enjoy making bread, just bread and rolls and the basics, right? And so when it was time, I embraced that season and learned how to do it. So that's a skill I have.
All right. So the concept of seasons is not often connected to learning. So we're going to take our time with this primary lens. In the meantime, send any questions or comments to learningliberated@gmail.com or share with us in our Learning Liberated Facebook group. And as always, if this episode spoke to you, share it with someone else that might enjoy it as well. Thanks a lot. Bye.